All right. Hey guys, welcome to tonight's Fire Zoom. I am pumped to be on here with one of my favorite people of all time in my downline. Kirsten Bacon is on here with me tonight, and you guys are going to get to hear from her in a few minutes. Kirsten, pretty pumped to see your face right now. I'm not going to lie. It's been too long since so many of us have been able to see each other face to face. So I'm excited to have a conversation with you tonight, even if it is in front of like 20 other people, it's fine. We're going to act like nobody else is even here. And we're going to get a little bit honest tonight with you guys. So I hope you're ready for it. And I hope you guys will interact in the chat a little bit throughout the night. And I also want to open it up at the end for some of you guys to possibly even just jump on and share in the chat some thoughts on what we're going to talk about. So the first thing is if you guys would drop a 1 in the chat if you are someone that does not like change. Just in general, you don't like change, you don't like when your routine's thrown off, you don't like when your morning's weird, you don't like moving, any of that stuff. If you don't like change, I would love to see a 1 in the chat. All right, lots of people that don't like change. Okay, I don't like when I feel like I know what my day is going to look like and then it doesn't go that way, right? So I think a lot of us feel that way. I also, if you are someone that has felt a change this year in your business, in your team, in your personal life, in the company, good or bad, I want you to drop a 2. So already this year, I know it's only the end of January, but drop a 2 if you felt some sort of change, good or bad. All right. So we got a whole lot of people that don't like change and a whole lot of people that have felt a change. So that tells me that we need to talk about it, right? We obviously have, we've changed a lot of things. Like if we're being honest, like the team page is different, the chats are different, the vibe feels different, right? We haven't had conference yet. A lot of us are used to having a conference, we're coming up on it, obviously, but we're used to having more in-person events. If you guys have been in for several years, you know that, like, it's been a minute since we've had consistent in-person events, but there's just been a lot. Our Zoom schedule has totally been condensed. A lot of us were doing several Zooms every week or had a different schedule. You were with smaller parts of your downline, so that has changed. And I'm more so speaking for my team, but I know it's felt across the board on different teams. And so I'm going to have Kirsten come on and just share a little bit about her perspective on the changes that have been made and things she's excited about, things that she's changed personally. But I also kind of just want to speak a little bit from the heart on the decisions that we made to make some of these changes, because I feel like when you know why things are changed, it is a little bit easier to be excited about it and accepting of it and to just kind of flip your perspective on why. Okay, so it's because it's not like we were like, this sounds like a fun thing to just try, let's totally change everything we've worked on for the last 7 to 10 years. It wasn't like just a spur of the moment, let's try something new. That there was thought that went into it. So I'm just going to speak to you guys personally, like Kim and Ashley may have their own perspective, but how about this? Drop a 3 if you want your business to look differently in 2022 than it did in 2021. Okay, in some shape or way, income-wise, team-wise, mentality-wise, if you want your business to look different this year than it did last year, drop a 3. Okay, figured we'd have a few of those. So we all know that quote that you've seen, you've probably posted it to your Instagram of the nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And I think for some of us that have been doing this for a really long time, we started realizing there was a disconnect between raising up some of those next layered leaders. And I'm not talking like diamond, double, triple. I'm like, why don't we have more triple pres ambassadors? What is the disconnect? What is something that we have not changed? We have really not strayed from at all when it comes to our team and emerging new leaders. And one of those things was the amount of time that we were spending doing all of the things, right? Like some of your leaders, planning all the things and hosting all the things. And how can we let people have the success that they deserve without sacrificing also their life, and wanting to model that for you guys of like, you can have it all. And so that was the other big thing for me, is like about halfway through 2021, that was like my main affirmation. Like almost every day, constantly, I was thinking, I really can have it all. Like, how can I have it all? How can I, because I believe it. I believe that I can have it all. How can I have it all? And so one of the big things for me was like, okay, I want my team to look and think, I can be a triple, a pres, an ambassador, a diamond, whatever your goal is. And I can also have the business, the marriage, I can have the relationship with my kids, I can have the workout regimen, I can have the whatever dog mom life, whatever it is for you. I can have that and I can have the business too. And I'm like, I need to start modeling that. And the only way for me personally to start modeling that was to start figuring out what are the most important things for me in my business and in my life, and how can I rearrange my priorities so that I can have all those things. And so just know that, again, we all had our own reasons, and we had reasons team wide to do these things, and we wanted you guys to have the sideline relationships, and we want some of you guys to be able to have room to grow because when you have Zoom scheduled 5 nights a week, where do you step up? Where do you fill in? How do you create the community that I created and Kim created and Ashley created if there's no room to do that? Because there was a day where we didn't have team huddles, and that one day Kim decided to do them and that I decided to do them. And we just, I think that was part of what was missing, and the disconnect there is that there was no room. People didn't even have to use that part of their brain. We always talk about how new distributors come in, and sometimes I feel like they do less because we give them so much. Like, we give them a board, here's all your messages. We give them a board of here's all your posts. We spoon feed them all the things. And it's like the more we give them, sometimes the less they do. And I think there's such power sometimes in giving people a little bit of room to figure it out, to use that part of their brain that I think so many of us have turned off because so much is just there and accessible. And so, anyways, I know that was a lot of thoughts, but that's because there was a lot of thought but around all of the things that were changed. So I'm done talking. I wanted Kirsten to be on here just to kind of share a little bit. So Kirsten, the first thing I just want to ask is, what has you excited about 2022?
I'd have to say, like the very last week of this year, I kind of okay, so let me backtrack. How many of you have been on Zooms? You can drop a four. I think we're on four. Yeah. How many of you within the last year have been on a Zoom where you a lot of times hear a leader say, I decided and I was just going to do it and then I ran with it. And you hear a lot of top leaders just constantly say, like, I decided this one day or that one day. And not even kidding, a whole last year of 2021, I would be on these Zooms and I'd sit there and be like, I don't understand how these girls are deciding. I don't understand what in the world they're doing to get themselves on this track of deciding. Like, are they talking to God more? Is God giving them a sign? Like, I would literally sit on a Zoom and at the end just think, I don't get this. And it was month after month after month last year where I even reached out to Tiffany and I was like, I don't get what I'm doing wrong to figure out how to decide. And the more I thought about it, and the more I listened, I don't think there is ever a time where you're ever going to understand how to truly decide when your business is going to change or your life is going to change or the personal things that you do or want in your life are going to change. And it wasn't until the last week of last year, last week of December, I woke up one day and I was like, this is it. I'm done. I am done with these up and down roller coasters. I am done with these up and down mental changes. I am done thinking that I got to put myself in a crisis center 24/7. I am done with just what is going on in my life. My family got me a Peloton for Christmas, and that was huge for me because I'm a big fitness advocate. And I was just like very committed to wanting to completely change my physical and mental health. And the last day of the month, I told myself before 2 o'clock I was going to get my 4-in-1 because it was New Year's Eve and I was doing a boxing marathon for work. And I was like, I got to get it done. And I did. And I don't know what it was, but I realized that when you decide, it's never going to be when you want it to be. It took me literally almost 365 days to finally have God say, okay, now it's your time to decide. And so I think that's what I'm really excited for is I finally figured out, like, okay, now here's my chance to really change for 2022. And I keep telling Tiffany and my team, I'm saying 2022 has to be different. And I think because I'm finally in a better mental state, I'm excited to just really see what's going to change for 2022. I think with these changes, I've been in this business for just about 4 years, right? And when I first came in, I mean, a lot of you guys, what you have now, I didn't even have, and that was only 4 years ago. We didn't have host to post, we didn't have boards, we didn't have all of this stuff that you guys had just have at your fingertips. And I remember, with Tiffany, there were times, because we didn't have as many Zooms either, where we could just get on together and hang out and work. And so many of her leaders that are now some of my really close friends that are my sideline sisters, like, we were on Zooms multiple times a week, just getting on and talking and hanging out and drinking together and just really connecting and bouncing ideas off of each other and messages off of each other. So I think with all these new changes, yes, I'm really excited to just be able to get back to that, because for me, I'm now seeing girls on my team that I know are going to love to do Zooms like this. Like, specifically, I have one girl that comes to me all the time. She's like, "Can I just get on Zoom and talk with you?" So you know what we did? Her and I planned a Zoom every day, every week. It's the same day, same time. Her and I are going to get on Zoom, hold each other accountable, and we're just going to talk, and we're just going to hang out. We're just going to work together. And because we don't have as many Zooms to focus on, we have that ability to do that. So that's what I'm excited for, because I feel like I'm able to just go back to taking control of what I really want to do, and just everything that I've learned in the last couple of years, and seeing how all the Zooms are. Now I can kind of channel like what I've learned, and what the Zooms have been like, to really change that for myself and my team.
So good. I cheers to your getting on Zoom and drinking. I think you're having water. I'm having a nooner. It's fine. Same but different. But I just love that, because honestly, I feel like the community, it starts small for all of us. Like Kim, I don't even know what year that was. Like, we started just like as accountability partners. I mean, obviously, like, we had a little bit more history than that and had spent some time together, but I remember, like, we were at some point like adding names to a Excel spreadsheet and like to keep track of people we were talking to on Instagram. Like, that's how our relationship started. Like, and I think that is also the power of us combining team pages, is having those relationships and like bringing the fun back into the business. Because you guys, burnout isn't cute anymore. There was like a season of It Works, I feel like, and some of you guys maybe haven't been around long enough, but it was like, how little sleep can we get? And, and like, let's work all the time. And when it's fun, you guys, there are seasons that you have to work that way to hit these huge goals. But at the same time, what kind of life do we really want to live? Why are you really doing this? And how can you have it all? How can you be like I was going to use an inappropriate word, which isn't like me, but I'm like, how can you like just kill it in the business, but not kill yourself at the same time? And so we want to free it up so that you can do the things that fuel you in the business, like getting on and having a drink with a friend and talking, but then also working your business to where it doesn't always have to feel like work. And I think we took a lot of the fun parts out of it. So now we want to put the best parts back into it, while everyone continues to find what fuels them. Because some of you guys don't want to lead Zooms. Like, it's the last thing you want to do. So what do you want to do with the time that you now have, because the schedule's free? And how can you partner up with someone that maybe has strengths that you don't have, to still give your team the resources or whatever that you want to give them? So, okay, I had to write down notes because I knew I would get sidetracked. I want you to just talk on, what did I even tell you? Just like the changes that you're excited about making, really was the whole point of things. Okay, talk about how earlier you were talking about just like embracing change, or that you just learned to accept change. And also, I know you talked about some things that you were excited about, just seeing what, Ashley and Kim and I have done, and that kind of, we lost it.
Sorry, we're good.
I'm like, we lost her. We lost her here.
We're good. Well, that was one thing too that I was excited about. I think just seeing, you've been in the business for 10 years. So has Ashley. And then I think Kim, you've been in about for 6 or 7. But with you, Alyssa, like, I came into a point in your business where I think you had just gotten to Prez. I can't remember exactly, or I don't remember, but watching you do everything, and then see you go from Prez to ambassador, and Tiffany go from triple to Prez, and now seeing where you're able to do all these different things, that made me excited, because my thought process was, especially seeing and getting inspired by what you, Kim and Ashley just done, like here I am, okay, 4 years in. Who's to say that if I really truly change my perspective to the point, like if I can sit down and hunker in and work really hard for 5 years, what's my life going to be like in 5 years? And we say that all the time on these Zooms. It's like, think about where you are right now and where you want to be in 2, 5, 10 years. And we talk about, would you rather work hard now, or would you just not work hard and then you essentially are in the same place 10 years later? And I think being able to truly watch that hard work that you put in over these years and now see that you don't have to feel like, I don't know how to put it. It works, guys. We say all the time, because of it works. Well, look at where Kim and Ashley and Alyssa are now because of what they did with It Works, because of what they took advantage of, because of the hard work they put in. Like, that's exciting to me, because if I truly focus on that, like, okay, I wrote down people because I was thinking about this too. Kelsey Thornton just wrote a book because of the outlet that she's in now. She found the ability to write a book. Ashley Mayfield, right? Look at where she's at right now. Valerie has a podcast and a devotional. Sherry Lynn O'Connell wrote a book and now she has a devotional. Like, think about where all of these women, these top leaders, these huge leaders are. If it wasn't for It Works and what this business has channeled them to do, they wouldn't be where they are now. I don't know really what I want in the next 5 years, but all I know is I want to be able to create myself to be able to get the opportunities to get there, whether it is a podcast or it's writing a book. I mean, I've become huge and like a huge mental health advocate, and just going through postpartum issues that I've had and being a mom and doing this as a mom, going from not being mom to a mom within this business. Who's to say I don't know, I'm going to have my own podcast or I'm going to write my own book. But all I know is that this business is what's going to put me there. And so I think it just goes back to being able to now use everything that I've had in order to, okay, so like, for example, Lauren, Alyssa came up with this accountability partner idea 2 years ago. Sorry guys, I'm like cold. It's cold in my basement, so I'm like shivering. 2 years ago, I think it was. Like, do you see how Lauren and I have become like best friends? Why can I not get that ready for my team to do? Like, I've had girls in long enough that's like, all right, I'm putting accountability to partners together. Here, who you're going to be with. Another thing that I can take control of. And so I feel like this is now getting all over the place because I just like have so much that I'm like thinking about. But I just think it's now our time, as where we are as leaders, to use what Tiffany's done and Kim has done and Ashley's done and all these top leaders have done, to be able to find strength in each other and our sideline sisters and kind of say, okay, where do I sit in leadership, right? Where am I right now in my leadership? What do I like? What do I don't like? Like Lauren, she'll tell you she hates getting on Zooms. Me, I like getting on Zooms, but her and I are great partners because we pull from each other's weaknesses and our strengths. And so now I can kind of really focus on, okay, if I really want 2022 to truly be a big and better year, that means I have to become better and stronger and understand my relationship or my leadership better than what I have been in the last couple of years. I mean, guys, you kind of have to think about it too. When I came into this business, I think it was what, like just the start of 2018, and then I don't want to bring COVID up, but it was a couple years, and all of a sudden COVID happened, and 2 years are gone by, and like there's just so much that has happened. So we just went as a world through a giant change. If that doesn't put something into perspective for you, like compared to that, like just be excited that we're now just moving forward. That I think a lot of us are really trying to move forward and get out of what has happened. And I'm just ready to just get back to life and just be happy and excited and just, I don't know, just truly embrace the change, whatever that's going to be. Trial and error, everything that's going to be happening. Trial and error, all the different things that I've learned. Because you don't know what's going to work unless you try it. You know, it's kind of like what we tell potential distributors. Don't knock it till you try it. Like, you don't know if you're going to be successful until you try it. So you don't know how successful you're going to be as a leader until you try all of the things that we have been given, all the tools that we have been given, to not want to sit and wait for our leader to do it for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what I was getting caught in is Tiffany would just come up with all these ideas. And I'm like, well, if you can't do that, like that's my time. That's my choice. So I decided I messaged her and I said, hey, Friday nights, my Sabbath is a Saturday. I want to spend an hour or two Friday nights, as many in a row as I can, get myself set up for the weekend. You want to sit on Zoom and drink with me? Like, who is leaders can we bring on and just like drink and have fun? Go back to where when I first started it, Tiffany and I and those leaders we had at the time literally were just chatting all the time. And our husbands were chatting with each other and they were getting on and just being goofy. And that's just what I want. I want my team to see that. I want, my girls to be able to see that and to just get, strong with each other. And I'm just excited to just have more time and freedom to be able to do that. Oh my God, I'm so cold. My like mouth is shivering. I don't even know if you guys can tell, but I'm literally over here like trying to not let my jaw like flap. I'm so cold.
Well, I cannot tell one bit that you're cold. So if it makes you feel any better, you don't look cold at all to me. That was really good. And I'm really thankful that you changed that perspective. And even as your leaders, like it was weird to even show that we were doing something new. And so I really appreciate that perspective because you guys, we preach that it works as your vehicle to pursue other dreams or to pursue giving back or to pursue XYZ. But then when you hang on to a fear of like, oh, but if I do that, then I'm, whatever, I'm not leading from the front or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And like that is so backwards. And I'm like, I don't want to model that. Like I want to see you guys get to the point where you're pursuing whatever it is, whether you need to be a diamond to do it or an ambassador to do it or a ruby to do it. Like we want to see you guys being able to do that and not being ashamed to use It Works as the vehicle to allow you to do that and not being scared that by pursuing that you're giving up something here and that again that you can have it all. Like so I would encourage you guys, like that was such a game changer for me over the last 6 months or so to just keep saying that, like I can have it all. How can I have it all? Like what can I do? What can I put in place? How can we make it happen? And things will start aligning for you when you start thinking that way and you start looking for those things. And for some of you, it might be, I want to, whatever, I want to own real estate. I want to, like, I've seen top leaders that have invested in Airbnbs, and I've seen other people that just wanted, they paid off all their debt in a crazy amount of time. And other people are like, look, I literally just need to make enough money so I can just be present as a mom because right now I'm gone all the time. Like, you have to narrow down, like, truly what it is that you want. And then also allow yourself, like, even tonight, just before you go to bed, like, what would it look like? What if the money wasn't an issue, if you had the time, if you had the freedom, let yourself dream. Even if just for a few minutes before bed tonight, like what would that look like for you? Because so many of us as adults haven't even allowed our brains to even go there because it's not a possibility with where we're at right now. So I would encourage you guys, and you may not know right now, and that's okay too. It may not be until you reach or you start getting closer to where your brain starts expanding that way, but start thinking about it now, because the sooner you figure out what you're working for or what you might be able to do or accomplish when you get there, the more things are going to align in your business, the more you're going to narrow down what kind of people you're looking for, the more your leadership is actually going to flourish because you're going to know exactly, like you're just going to have such alignment and clear vision on where you're headed that other people are going to capture that vision too. So I would just encourage you again to look at it. And it doesn't have to be a business. It doesn't have to be an investment. It could be very simply just a relief in your life or whatever. But just if all those things were taken care of, what would you be doing? Because for many of us, we don't join this thinking, I just want to be an ambassador with It Works. Most of us don't even know what that is when we join, right? And some of you might not even know what it is. You may be new enough to not know what that is. But what would your life look like? What would you pursue that maybe isn't income related at all? Like maybe you do just want to be a missionary. Maybe you want to do some of these things and you can't do it right now. So just allow yourself to dream a little bit, embrace the change. I told my team today, like fill in the gaps. Like if something's missing or lacking or whatever, like get creative. When I go think back to times in my business of like massive change, things that felt uncomfortable, things that were weird, even if they were good, that's when so much growth happened. You guys, when I started, we literally typed up these huge packets of information, and we would walk into like spas and salons because we thought we were going to make $1 million if just we could get some like hair salons to sell the products, right? Not that it was a terrible idea, but we literally just went in there with like, here's a bunch of information, please think about it and call me. Like, we never do that now, right? Like that, and social media wasn't even a big thing. And then Facebook was a big thing. And then Instagram became the big thing. And then it went back to Facebook when Host to Post started. And then it was TikTok and Reels. And I mean, now it's a combination of all the things, right? And finding what works best for you. But we didn't have Hair, Skin, and Nails. I remember when Hair, Skin, and Nails came out, you guys, that was like the first time that anyone enrolled like 30 customers in a month. Like that wasn't a thing that happened ever before. And now there's people that enroll like 100 customers a month, you know? And there's just so many things, you guys. We used to be able to pay $7 on Facebook to boost a post. And you probably have heard some of these stories before, but it was like, there's all these like random changes, some big, some small, over the last decade that have happened. And you just have to decide that that is going to be a good thing for your business. Like Kirsten, I know Leah has really like is flourishing in her business right now. Like the people that have decided like, how can I make this good for me? How can I step up and embrace the change? They're excelling. And so find a way that it's going to be good for you. If you can't figure it out, like message one of us or message a sideline and be like, okay, I don't know where to start. Because I know that's when a lot of us get paralyzed, is like, I want to do things, but I don't even know what direction to take a step in. Like, let's figure it out. But I just encourage you guys, especially going into conference, like I'm sure some big things are about to happen. Like, let's just make sure that all of our brains are on straight and that you guys have some vision of where you're headed for the rest of the year, that you have some plans either with your team or some sidelines or uplines or whatever, so that you can come out of conference with those things already in place. Because we all know everyone's like hair is on fire and our eyes are like glazed over after conference because we're so excited. So go ahead and spend this next like week or so before we go, right? It's like a week, right? Ish. Yeah, about a week before we go, and make sure you have some of those things solid in place so that when you leave, you kind of have a game plan and what you're going to do and how you're going to organize it and who you're partnering up with and all that good stuff. So I was going to open up the floor tonight, but I know we do these, we keep them right at 30 minutes. So I'm going to do the same. But I appreciate you guys being on, hanging in there through this whole Zoom. Kirsten, you're amazing. I definitely think you're going to have a podcast, but who knows? It could be something totally different, but whatever it is, you are always fire and I appreciate you. And that's it. So I'll see you guys later.